welcome back to Viscount Gaming, where the tavern's always open to those who are willing to come by, as long as you're willing to buy. Once again, I am your host here. My name is Vernon. You can call me the Viscount, either way works. That's fine with me. And tonight we got a very special episode of the Tavern where we're actually bringing up, believe it or not, this is a team game this time. All right. So not only do I have one guest, not two guests, but three guests. This is actually my team that plays regularly the Renegade Games version of the Transformers. So tonight at the Tavern, I'm going to actually let you guys introduce yourself. So please, go ahead. Let's start with Terry. Do me a favor. Introduce yourself to the people.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. Happy to be a part of this. I'm Terry, and I've been in this TTRPG scene for 40 plus years. I've pretty much well played every game under the sun. And in regards to where we're going tonight, very happy, very glad that this came out. And I look forward to going into details about it.
Great. Next, of course, we have a returning player, Richard. What's up?
Hey, glad to be back. Looking forward to sharing thoughts on the game, running it, being a player, whatever comes up. I love you.
Last but not least, Roulette.
Hey y'all, I'm Gage. I play the medic in our campaign, and it's super awesome to be here. I'm glad we were able to get some time in for it, and I can't wait for what comes next.
Love the enthusiasm. Love it. Absolutely love it. And speaking of which, like I said before, this is actually the team that plays the Renegade Games Transformers. It's been out for what? Has it been a year yet? Don't make me have to look things up, but I think it has been.
Actually, it came out like 6 days before my birthday. So I can tell you straight up, it has not yet been quite a year.
I remember from the last episode, because I do pay attention, I do listen to those things, but yeah. But since that time, I have to say, watching, things that have come out of Hasbro, things that have come out of, online, you don't see much fanfare about it, which I think is surprising, especially since you have, since the 80s and since, late 90s, because there's a big skip in there, where you had Beast Wars, there's always been some iteration of the Transformers on TV for a long time. And yet, this is the first time you're seeing a regular tabletop game based on it, where you're actually allowed to make your own character, which any 80s kid would love to do, especially with the, with tabletop gaming, which, pretty much relies on the creativity to create, such, characters and settings. But I'm just wondering, why is it so quiet right now?
Because the world is a tragic place.
Agreed on that.
The inside cover is 2022, so you guys nailed it. But yeah, I would say that's a really good point. And it's almost an enigma because with Hasbro owning probably the biggest card game out there, and now the biggest TTRPG out there, D&D and Magic the Gathering respectively, Hasbro has infamously not really pushed their other IPs into the TTRPG space. It's a bit of a mystery. I'm not exactly sure because they're all about making money. They are a corporation. All the power to them in that regard. But it just seems to be a lost source of creativity for revenue and for to expand their IP even more. And I wish I had a solid answer for that one.
I like how you brought up the other IPs, because let's not forget, there's also Power Rangers, another thing everyone grew up with, and you also have G.I. Joe, which of course it goes side by side with Transformers. It's left and right hip. The only difference is that you don't have as many TV shows as with iterations of GI Joe to go with Transformers. I mean, you have the original cartoon, you had the follow up, which was GI Joe Extreme, which is best left not discussed ever again. And then, and let's be honest, we also have the very much highly underrated, in my opinion, at all. And it's okay to me to disagree with me and be wrong, which was Renegades. Even though, let's be honest, it was the A team, but it worked. It was pretty good. You got one season, that's all you get. But since then, and of course Sigma 6, you got no GI Joe.
Yeah, the licensing. Yeah, Renegade came along. I guess they begged and pleaded and probably laid some serious cash down to get the licensing for it. But and then when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, Hasbro just outright bought the company, Wizards of the Coast. So again, more examples of how they have gone into the genre, but they have their own built-in house IPs. Like D&D wasn't originally a Hasbro product. Obviously, TSR to Wizards of the Coast to now Hasbro. But when it comes to GI Joe and when it comes to Transformers, this is in-house, and yet there's never been a product out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to go into conspiracy theories, but it feels like me like money left on the table. Because,
100%.
even though like they've gone to the selling to collectors, what's wrong with having a fun military show? And then of course, when it comes down to our space, the TTRPG space, it's very much about wargaming. As work because D&D was based off of what is it called, Ironclad, and that led into what it is now. Where now instead of walking to somebody and hit him with a broadsword, now you hit him with a +3 magical broadsword with additional magic damage, and on a critical hit, you can actually make another attack. So basically, just slap bells and whistles on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's not like Hasbro is not willing to branch out. Like when you look at Magic the Gathering now, I don't know if I was just falling prey to some clickbait, but as from what I can see right now, they're going to be coming out with the Princess Bride card set, in addition to, of course, the Lord of the Rings having just come out, and all of these other outside IPs. Hasbro is obviously laying down the cash to get the licensing for it. But again, when it comes to their in-house products, they they're not jumping in on it itself. And as you said, Vernon, it's like money on the table. So they're throwing money out to get these other IP properties integrated into what they now own, but they have something that is beloved by generations of people, to which already has a built-in audience that is clamoring for it, and yet they then license it out like they're doing to all the other IPs. It doesn't sync up.
You're right. It doesn't. But you know what? I'm gonna do what I can to try and bring some more attention to it. Because honestly, for me, I'm having a ton of fun with the mechanics and the play of the Transformers game, and that's when I just gotta ask our other people here. Definitely Richard here, like because he actually runs it. What's it like being immersed in this world when you get a chance to actually run the setting of the Transformers?
Oh, dude, I gotta tell you, it's like stepping into the best parts of my youth, um, running running a Transformers environment. I was practically begging for a role play system geared around Transformers, and I even tried creating a a little thing for like an amateur role play game set. Um, Never went anywhere seriously, but it it's a long time coming, and every time I sit down at the table and pick up the the DM screen, so to speak, for Transformers, it's like it's like renewing um, the best parts of my adult hobby with the best parts of my childhood obsession. So it's it's a little bit much to say that it's life saving, but yeah.
The circle's complete. I dig it, but yeah, I feel you on that. I love how you're getting giddy about it too. I can tell you honestly that enthusiasm is shared.
Oh yeah, if you get the right attitude and the right energy behind it, it things like this are infectious, and bring on the infection. I'm here.
I heard that.
Don't you dare give me no medicine for it. There is no medicine for this.
Oh, you're right. Actually, speaking of medicine, I think this is a great time to bring this in here. We've been running this game with you for how long? We've only played how many months?
Early January is when things got kicked off. So we're looking at 10 months pretty soon.
Man, time flies.
I know, right?
When you're having fun.
You just had to do it. You just had to do it, but that's cool. But actually, about that, because you of course built the world, and you talked about it on our last show. You had you on here about how you made the world for the optimal rookies, and a setting that you've been wanting to run with people for how long? How many years do you have that riding around in your head?
Um, well, the idea for optimal rookies came up when I watched Transformers Prime season two for the first time, and we came across that episode where Optimus sent a message into space, a message with enough transmission power to reach all the way to Cybertron, and you know, five Autobots responded to the call to return to Earth. No, out of the whole universe, um, only five Autobots got the message and came to the rendezvous. Didn't sit right. So
Mathematically impossible.
so yeah, I asked myself, well, what if more Autobots came to the Transformers Prime storyline um, before the first half of season two finished, and this amazing story has been the result.
Now, I just get that. I also have to ask you this because I know you came up with the framework, as most of us, DMs do. You create the framework of your world you want people to play in, even if it's pre-written. But what did you think when you saw some of these characters that came through? That when you saw the players that want to jump in, or what were you expecting to see when you saw these character concepts people broach to you?
Well, to be honest, I try to keep my expectations low, but even saying that, what I wanted to see was something absolutely not cookie cutter. Like, I didn't want to see tracks with a red paint job. Okay. I didn't want to see I didn't want to see Blue Streak with a slightly different transformation sequence or nothing like that. I wanted original entities, and by God, I got them.
That's good to hear. Matter of fact, we actually have them here. One first person I definitely got to ask is Roulette here because we actually played in the first session. So do me a favor. Let us know about the character you play, Gage, because that I think Gage is a lot of fun. But I think it's best to hear it from the source of the concept for this character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I first off, the very first session of this entire campaign, probably one of my favorites. I got to meet a brand new friend. I got to get back at the table with a old GM that I loved hanging out and being a part of their table, and I got to do it in a new format, so that was fantastic. Um, in terms of this character, I have been a super huge Transformers fan basically since I was a kid. My dad is the one that got me into it, and ever since he got me into the entire fandom and all of the shows and the comics and such, I've been creating my own original characters and my own stories. And one of the characters that popped up, kind of like the very first one, was actually this character. Her full name is Chief Galvatreus, but she goes by Chief Gage or just Gage for short. Um, Inspiration for her was she wanted to, how do I even put this into words? Her backstory is when it's kind of hard to explain.
No,
Gage
it's
has
cool.
always had a ambition for medicine and wanting to help others, and in the war she didn't really see that as a possibility to do if she had picked up a blaster. And so instead of picking up a blaster, she picked up a scalpel instead. She decided to devote her time and energy into healing those in the war and healing the innocents that got trapped by it. Um, and instead of actively participating in taking the lives, would be an active participant in saving the lives instead. And in doing so, she gained the attention of Ratchet, who, in my at least my own personal lore, trained her and made her a really good medic so that she could help more lives. And through all of that training, she got the quote, of which is a direct quote out of one of the IDW comics, from Ratchet to, oh, the name is escaping me at the moment. But it's a medic's a medic can save a medic can save a spark, but it's up to the patient to make theirs worth saving. And that's basically kind of encompassed Gage's character like ever since. And so getting back to the campaign, this campaign has really been able for me to kind of bring that character to life rather than just be on a piece of paper.
Nice. It sounds like that little kid gets to also play with the ultimate toy, if you will, because that's what little kids do with them. So you get to do that again. Now this is the age you are here, and that's dope.
Exactly. Yeah, it's ever since I was little, and since I've been able to bring that little kid back out and be able to play this character, it's just been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it is. And I'm gonna say right now, being on the other side of it, especially with the character I play, it's great to have you there. Because some people that play, and this is more of a macro thing, that some people play the healer class, and it's just like the basically the person with the worst day job in the world, and they kind of like, all right, who needs to be healed? All right, it's my turn. All right, I'm gonna be a band-aid, and they just kind of roll through the motions of that's all I can do. But you make it fun, like Gage is a trip to be around because you go from all right, let me patch you up to all of a sudden let me at him, and it's like, whoa, wait, you can't be on the front lines, but you don't care.
Except for glass doors. Glass doors will always be the bane of her existence.
Yes, that's your chair. That will glass doors will be your kryptonite.
Hey, Vernon,
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and ask Gage how she feels about targeting the healer in the first rounds of combat?
I think you already did. Yeah, let's hear about that. Let's see how's that feel. To have a cross your little cross is actually a crosshair. So yeah, tell us about that.
Okay. Um, my in my personal um my personal opinion of it, targeting the healer in the first rounds of combat is probably the biggest no-no that any person thing it could do. It's I take pride and joy in the fact that I when any healer character is on the board, that is definitely not the first person that anyone targets. And then when you do, the healer is then left with, oh scrap, what in the name of Primus am I supposed to be doing?
I'm guilty of doing that in my games too. I'm sorry.
Well, at least you're honest about it.
Yeah,
At least you're honest.
it's them and the murder hobo. You're the first to get it, but now everyone knows that. I just told the world.
Yep.
Yeah. But speaking of getting it, there's another member of our team that really sticks out because you know how everyone says they always love a bad guy. They also always love the bad, pretty much the bad boy too. And we got one in our team. Now, we know who he is, but I think it's better if he shows himself. So Terry, what's the deal with Shinobi?
Oh man, that's a loaded question. um, well, just yeah. Much like all my compatriots here, I've been just in love with Transformers my entire life. To the point of where even before Transformers was even a blip on anything other than a cartoon on a TV screen, I remember playing Riffs, if that game means anything to anybody, way back when, because they also did Macross. So I literally I took a Valkyrie from the Robotech version of the Palladium system and played it as a character in the Rifts campaign system. Because yeah, Jetfire is just my favorite. In regards to Shinobi, um, I've always been I'm drawn to redemption arcs. I read Hero of a Thousand Faces by Campbell
Mm-hmm.
many years ago, and if you've not read it, definitely give it a read.
Any writer
Um,
should.
yeah, I would agree with you. From from Spike in Buffy the Vampire Slayer to Snipe in Harry Potter to Boromir in Lord of the Rings, and of course Anakin in Star Wars. There's just this thing about redemption stories that just really resonates with me, and yeah, that was Shinobi's background as well. Having been a Decepticon and then going through a series of events that allowed him to see the Decepticons for what they were. Not that he was necessarily immediately convinced of the Autobot cause as well, but he definitely didn't see the Decepticons as being in alignment um, with his personal perspective. So he decided to see what the Autobots were about, and as much as he treated humans very poorly in the beginning and was very silent in the beginning, I've been purposely playing him with an evolution to warming up to organics as well as to his companions, to where his true personality is evolving. The wisecracking, joke making um, character that he is. But
Body part
it's
collecting.
what's that?
Body part collecting.
Well, there's still a few leftovers from the old days, but he can't complete that redemption arc all in one go. It's going to take a while, but yeah, it's I'm drawn to that kind of character. In addition, whenever no, usually whatever game I play, I'm also usually all about fast and dexterous characters as opposed to strength based. Although, ironically, my two favorite D&D classes are Barbarian and Monk. I don't think I've played anything other than those in years. With all the new subclasses always coming out all the time, there's always something new to try. But definitely swords over guns as well. It's just yeah, it just vibes with me, and I really like it. And yeah, to back on to what you were saying about Gage as well, and about you, I know you haven't gone into your character. I'll let you do that yourself. But we got such a cool dynamic. Not that we're checking off boxes, but when it comes to, if you old school terminology, we got our tank, and we got our healer, and we got our DPS, and we got all our bases covered, but also the personalities that everyone's injected into their characters. I'm really liking it. I'm loving crafting this story with Rich guiding the whole thing, the vibrant and detailed world that he's created. It's just it's all going very cool, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I am too, I gotta say. And on that with characters, I think it's interesting that you came up with a character that was formerly Decepticon. And what thought was interesting is you did keep that. I think we didn't learn that about that until maybe two or three like episodes. After you joined the game, and it was like, hold on, what? And I think it was like, I'm not sure if it was in game or if it was like a passing conversation we had about you saying that Shinobi, and Shinobi is exactly what would appear in someone's head. I mean, do me a favor, for those who are not watching, can you just describe what Shinobi looks like?
Yeah, he doesn't look like a typical seeker, which is to say a jet like Starscream or Thundercracker, what you would see in G1 and future iterations of Transformers. He's much more stylized. That's also thanks to Rich in game, that when he first arrived on the planet, being a seeker, he obviously scanned for a plane, and the one that he happened to come across was not a standard F-15 or anything. It was an experimental aircraft. So that really helped me to define the physical characteristics, which then in turn helps to define other characteristics. But yeah, he's pretty much all jet black with gold trim all around. You'd have to take a close look, but he actually has four eyes, which also is a physical explanation to having such an incredibly high alertness. And yeah, and his wings are a lot more stylized as well, coming off his back, unlike the other Seekers to which we normally see. But for the most part, all the bits are there: the cockpit and the nose and the tail and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I see what you started with there. That's funny. I see what you did there. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. But yeah, go ahead, man.
No. Yeah, just and even the way I play it, I stylized him and also play him like what I do with a lot of RPGs I play. I visualize it as an animation or a movie. I'm all about story, and so in that regard, I'm always trying to play the scenes as cinematically as possible. Like in our previous game, when I came after what's his name? Ronald Donald. What's his name?
Jyaxis. There you go.
Yeah. So flying straight at him. I specifically took the general perks to have fast transformation from bot to alt to bot, so that I can just sew on the fly. So yeah, he flew in jet mode at Jyaxis, turned into bot mode. Snake Eyes ejected from the cockpit. We both attacked. I then came around over top of him as Snake Eyes did, transformed back into a jet with my cockpit open for Snake Eyes to do a landing in there. And I just love the visual aspect, and Transformers just lends itself. It's a cartoon. It's an anime. It's perfect for that. It's not meant to be like in completely based in realism. We're giant transforming robots. We got to make it look cool.
Yeah, I second that 100%. And any other number you were throwing there, yeah, I'm down for that. I jokingly call myself the Flavor King, even though I'm a Viscount. But I dig it, man. That's one thing that attracted me to the game as well. Because, like yourself, I grew up with the IP. I mean, I'm literally the target age for Transformers. When it came back out in 85, I was 6 years old. And I remember, actually my mom handed me a toy, and one day when she came back from work, and the next day on TV at 4 p.m. the Transformers came on. That toy was a Huffer. Huffer was my first Transformer.
Parker is severely underrated, and no one can change my mind. He deserved way more time than what he got.
He's just a short Optimus Prime. He actually, when Prime got hurt, he pulled his trailer for him.
Absolutely, that Huffer was a real trooper, man, real MVP.
Mm-hmm. And he walked around with a hoodie on. But yeah.
The interesting part, you say you were 6. I was 15 when it came out. So I bought all my own Transformers because at that age I was doing a lot of babysitting. And yeah, all my babysitting money went to buying Transformers.
And now everyone knows how old we are.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's the real age gap here for you. I would have been 86. If I can math correctly, I would have been negative 14.
Get out. Get out now. Go away. Leave. Bounce. Split. I'm kidding. Don't go.
I was born in 99, so when it came out, I didn't exist yet, so I'm very thankful to my dad that he showed me everything.
Oh my God, my uniforms are older than you. Oh.
And as humorous as that is, that actually says a lot.
Yes.
Because I'm obviously at the opposite end of the spectrum, probably being the oldest at the table, and it sounds like you might be the youngest, but we both have a passion and a love for this intellectual property, and we both take such incredible joy out of it. So it transcends generations, and it transcends age gaps. That's why this thing is so cool.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely. It's something that can just bring an entire community of people who don't even know each other together based on just a single interest. And it can be a single interest of so many vast things within the same one. So it's fantastic.
It's like someone said before, if you want to make a friend, make a pop culture reference, those who get it will probably be cool with you.
Yep.
Just don't bring up comics, because then you're gonna make enemies, or Star Trek, Star Wars. Then you'll start a fight. Say you like the sequel series, put a mouthpiece in right afterward, because it's coming.
Totally.
But the amount of time I dropped till all are one amongst my circle of friends. Yeah, if you get it, you get it.
Hey, episode 1, first episode we had, first game we had, it was just me, Richard here as DM, and Roulette, and we had to meet someone. The first thing I said, because I said in my mind, because we were on an alien planet, first thing in my mind was like, I gotta get this right. This is too perfect. So as soon as we met these sentient creatures, and we asked the question, are they sentient? Are they intelligent? And when Richard said yes, first thing I said was, I woke up to him and say, "Ba weep, growl now, weep, ninny bomb." And I think we laughed for like 15 minutes. I think it was just 15 minutes of straight laughter from all three of us.
Don't forget the Energon goodie.
Yeah, that was in there too. There was an Energon. Energon was dispersed. It may have been considered contraband, but it was there.
It's still counted.
But and the good times continued since then. uh, and it was great. It was just those nerd moments that brought us together and kept us playing this long. You know, and honestly, if anybody's out there, and it's probably listening to this cat pod as we're speaking, hey, look, these are the good times that are waiting for you there. And I'm just like, if you find yourself a chance to sit at a table with this game, please do. What I mean? We want you there. You know what I mean? Uh, um, Speaking of which, I do have to ask
It's
though. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's a it's a round robin of good times, and you never know what's going to be around the corner, whether it be your players' reactions, whether it be the DM that has the story planned out for you. It's always a surprise every single time that you open up that screen or you open up that door. It's different every time, and it's gonna make memories for everyone to have that'll last a lifetime.
True. And as Terry said before, look what happened when Richard busted out GI Joe characters. I was like, is he for real? Because I mean, because you had, because I remember I leveled up and you had mentioned, yeah, you can have a you can have a like a human companion. So think about who you want. And then you asked me who's my favorite GI Joe, and I'm like, Alpine. And next, Alpine shows up in the game, and also mechanically speaking, yes, you can actually import there. You can have a crossover between GI Joe, Transformers, and right now Power Rangers. As a matter of fact, at the last free comic book day, excuse me, free comic book day. I gotta say it right. They actually did have a small like mini module you can play where you can actually play a crossover between GI Joe and the Transformers. The problem is when I was at my local store, nobody wanted to play.
Oh, what?
Knows about the system.
Well, speaking to the crossover, I don't know if Rich is going to try to get some royalties out of this, but as you had said before when you asked, we've been playing this for about 10 months now, and we've all seen it at this point. And spoiler ahead, but at the end of Rise of the Beasts, it looks like they're taking Rich's idea. So and then to Rich's credit, being the great sandboxer that he is, um, I think at some point someone mentioned Stargate, so Stargate showed up, and then it's just yeah, it's just Rich's inner geek is coming out, and we all know these intellectual properties, and so it's very cool to see it all put together, and he's bringing it together flawlessly.
Sure
I
is.
feel like Richard's just one of those GMs that it just comes. There's some people that like they prepare and they like plan everything out ahead of time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel that Richard is one of those people that everything just comes naturally when it comes to being a GM. He really unfolds it like an actual story that you're living. And even though he might have an idea of like the end goal for the current mission um, for it, he really does leave it up to his players to make the crossing road choices instead of just railroading them to what he has the um end of his idea there. And so I really have to applaud Richard on being someone that can have a main idea but is able to open up his own world that he has created to the objection and change that his players can offer.
True.
To continue with the compliment train, also to Rich's credit, and I've always appreciated this because it does take a lot of metacognition on a DM's part, but just if the players do get sidetracked and explore off on another tangent, the rest of the world doesn't stop moving. And we've done that. We've gone off on these side missions, and then what seemed to be a part of the one of the main storylines, it was still going. So when we got back onto that track, oh, all of a sudden now they're producing Cybertronians, and they've advanced this much technology wise. So things don't just come to. So he's keeping track of a lot of moving pieces, and yeah, very much to his credit.
Another thing I will keep on here and will, before moving on to the next things I got to bring up is that one thing I think I appreciate that you give players, and it's something I sometimes struggle to do myself, is actually time. And what I mean is like time to actually sit there and talk to each other, because a game where every player just talks to the DM can be really, or GM can be really boring. But there was one instance in particular where my character of Speaker Box had found out that Shinobi was a former Decepticon, and at the right time, I wanted to corner him and ask him questions because there, there was potential for trust issues, which happens in games. But you actually allowed me to sit there and as a character, walk up to him and say, "Hey, whose side are you really on?" Like, and literally just walk up and chest check him. It's like, "Hey, if you were willing to, and I'm paraphrasing here, if you're willing to, leave the Decepticons with being with them and know what they do, how can we trust you not to do the same thing to us?" And you let us go back and forth here, and it was actually a pretty long conversation between characters. And then we were in character with, hey, look, whose side are you on? And we just went back and forth there, and we got to learn a lot about our characters as well, because it's something that I was holding back myself, because with my character of Speaker Box, because Speaker Box was, believe it or not, and I wanted to, when I came up with a concept with him, which was, I wanted to play a big bot that was like, a strong, fighter, but like was a real blue collar worker during the Cody Fingers golden age, but he missed out on most of the actual war because he got knocked out, which is kind of embarrassing. But he was, what's the word? He was actually in stasis lock and was brought back online during the war. So he's missed out on like pretty much, the start of the war up until when they were doing evacuation. Like he missed all of that. So but the first person to find him were the Decepticons. And he's like, all right, let's do it, because I fight. You guys want to fight? Let me do it with you. But then finds out that the former champion of Kaon is now the leader of the Decepticons and wants to take away people's freedom. And that's like the line he refuses to cross. Like, hold on, there's a war going on. I missed out on all the hard fighting. And then this guy's in charge, and now he wants to take people's freedom away. So he pretty much said, I found Gulo to, Megatron, and ended up, having to run for his life and went to the Autobots. I did want to have something that was really inglorious for a background. Like, yeah, you're a big dude and you're powerful and you're, basically a barbarian, but also someone who's big and strong but not stupid. Because I hate that. I hate it.
Yes, the as hard as a book but as bright as a feather. It's how I like to put that. I hate that trope as well. It's
yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make this character who had a lot of he has tactical wit, like he's very aware of things. He's not dumb. He's just simple. Like he's a guy who spent his whole function. It basically because they're machines. He had a function of working in the mine. When you stop doing your shift in the mine, you go get in the pit, you go fight somebody, you go recharge in the art chamber, and then go back to doing the same thing. So that was his function before the war hit. But then, when that's taken away, now he's got to find a new function. And he found it in being an Autobot. So I just dig that. And also, sometimes getting a chance to do like stuff like you know, punch a combiner into pieces, or throw your medic at a jet midair, like all that stuff. Because I try to make sure the character works within a team, so he's not just I walk up and hit things, but at the same time, yeah, that's his thing. He walks up and he punches things. So that's speaker box in a nutshell. And just he's
And
loud, proud, in charge. Introduce himself the same way. SPEAKERBO triple X for double dose of that pain. That's that character right there. It's all an introduction, and you know what he's about. It's on the surface, but at the same time, you can have fun with that. Not me, but you, the DM, the players at the table. You can have fun with that character. That's my goal, and that's what I aim for with them.
I certainly enjoy having Speaker Box around. Our very first session together, when we didn't even talk about it. We just pulled out what we called the fastball special, and it just grew and became a thing from there. It was absolutely fantastic.
And it worked.
It did. That was the beauty of it. It wasn't something that we just tried and never attempted again because it didn't work. It genuinely worked, and we continued using that, and it was I. We need to do that again soon.
Yep.
That's fun. It's very fun.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
would throw Shinobi at somebody, but would that be a shuriken?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll spin my swords as I'm going.
If he's in alt
Like,
mode, it's a trickin'.
it's a death by Beyblade, and I love it.
Oh God, look, we need to make a list of different other IPs we can check off here on the nerd list. Yeah, so we already got Stargate, we got GI Joe, Beyblade's next.
Yep, absolutely.
Forget JP's in there. Jurassic
Yes.
Park.
Oh, I forgot
Yep.
that.
That's actually Gage's current alt mode, and I still haven't changed out of that. She's still the Jeep.
But we know how Jeeps can end up in that show. So, but I do have to ask
Yes,
you.
but so far she's in one piece.
There you go. But I gotta say, like, it's been fun talking about these characters and this campaign. As a matter of fact, do have to ask though. So far, and I gotta ask. I want to actually start with you, Richard. What's been your favorite part of this campaign we've been running so far?
Oh, um, there's so much of it that is pure gold, but if I had to boil it down to just a couple of sentences, I'd have to say that um, the most satisfying thing for me has been to have players to have my players realize that that this is as much their story as mine. I'm the GM. I run all the bad guys, most of the good guys. I'm responsible for the environment you find yourselves in. Um, Players, they just have to worry about one entity in the whole cosmos, but that doesn't matter because they have as much influence on the story as I do. And I love when they get invested like that. I love when they realize that, hey, this is my story too, and I'm going to make it memorable.
That should be every GM's goal, in my opinion. But going down the list here, though, Terry, what about you?
Um, I could name off a whole bunch of specific scenarios, but I think the thing I'm most appreciative of the fact is that I'm playing with. So I have yeah, I'll have to explain this through alliteration. So I'm playing with role players, not role players. So I'm playing with ROLE players, not ROLL players. And you touched upon this as well, Vernon, that the dialogues and the role playing. I love a good fisticuffs and throwing down as much as anyone else. but on an equal basis, and even given the situation, and more so the role playing aspect. Um, and that's where you learn. I like one of the things that I really enjoy doing as a player is I really pay attention um, to what other players are saying about their characters, and then I use those as hooks to try to engage them, and get my character more involved with their character. And so, yeah, to everyone's credit, there have been lots of hooks dropped, uh, lots of opportunity for the ROLE playing, to really engage with each other. So yeah, so like I said, lots of specific stories and elements in the game itself, but I'm just really appreciating the people and the effort that they're putting into the game as well.
Yeah, definitely reciprocate that. It's been fun. It's great to roll natural 20, but it's better to me to have the experience with someone who actually makes things happen, makes memories. I mean, you know, that's success to me. Success to me is not the role. Success to me is the memories you get from people and the players at the table. That's what to me is what matters. And
You'd
finally,
rather roll a crit fail with you'd rather roll a crit fail with friends that you can laugh about it rather than roll a crit success just by yourself going by the book.
true. Unless it's a death save, then that shit sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
But yeah, but as a matter of fact, I gotta ask you, what's been your favorite thing so far that you like to share with us?
My turn?
Oh yeah,
Okay, sorry.
you weren't gonna escape.
No, I'm kidding. Well, oh gosh, I like so much of all of it. I don't even know where to start. I guess the I guess the biggest thing for me that I really enjoy, specifically with this group, is this is my first time doing a online role play ROLE with absolutely anyone, that I don't know everyone in person. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first started it, I was like super gun ho and like ready to like I wanted to get this started, but I was scared of what kind of personality types that I would meet. Um, for my very first online, and the when I got all of you guys as my first experience, it's like opening an entire new world, for me that I didn't know that I could open. It's meeting new people that have a like-mindedness that we can all get together on this one thing and have conversations about it for hours and be able to get in this mindset of these characters that we have all created to be a part of this living, evolving story that our wonderful GM is guiding us through. And just having the, like everyone else has stated, the memories with the people that I've met, and not just the people, but the memories with the characters that I have met as well, has been memories that I will cherish for my lifetime. It'll be stories that I bring up at gatherings. It'll be stories that, I bring up when people ask me, "Hey, what did you do this week?" Well, my character just tried to ram a glass door and failed. It's one of those things. It's just it's one of those things that it's going to be my second nature to just, this is what I did during my week, and this is what I enjoy doing for the rest of however long I see it, for just something that I personally enjoy, and I am so grateful that I can do it all with the people that I have met.
Outstanding.
If I could just jump in there for a quick second. Um, one more thing that I truly appreciate about this crew is the mental exercises that you all put me through, because because Gage not only took a shot at a glass door, Gage took several shots at a glass door. Couldn't get through the glass door to save their lives. And I had to come up with a semi-plausible explanation for why this transparent substance, which is supposed to be super brittle, stood up to a car ramming it.
Transparent
Still
aluminum.
still not completely believable, but at least it's better than normal glass.
Transparent aluminum, like in Star Trek.
As beautiful as all those answers were, one practical example that I loved was it's hard to beat. I love that Rich throws us into scenarios right out of the Transformers Prime series, and when he threw us into the scene out in the desert where Megatron breaks Optimus's Star Sword, and when interjecting us into that scene, and my character being able to bitch slap Megatron and not and then disappear through a bridge, a la Star Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy, giving him a double salute with his fingers falling in backwards into it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
If we're going for practical moments in the game as well, I think one of my favorite ones was one of my favorite ones was the moment that it was actually on our most recent mission where Gage was holding the camera, and the team had wanted her to send a message. I think Shinobi was putting together the message for Gage to send, and we're trying to pose as Starscream to get Jyaxis out of hiding so that we can get some scans when he's phased. And as Gage is typing up the message, all of a sudden Ghost Scream pops out of the camera and just scares Gage grapless. She drops the camera, and just everyone's reaction to finally seeing Ghost Scream after Shinobi had spent almost an entire session alone on that island with Ghost Scream, and it's just like everyone else is like, what in the world? And Shinobi's like, yeah, this is what I've been telling you guys. Like, he was just so nonchalant about it.
Yeah, like that happens to him.
Yep.
But
I've definitely had more.
I love the excuse I gave for Starscream's ghost to just pop out like that in that moment, because it hit me that Starscream's ego would not let them send a message that sounded so weak and floofy. And so he pops out of the camera and says, I wouldn't say that. I would say this instead.
Yeah, I think you used the word vermin.
Yep, it was.
Yeah.
It's just like, I didn't say that. I would have used the word vermin.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. But I made sure to do it with no warning so that Gage would have an opportunity to jump scare herself right out of right out of a kneeling position into a small jump right in the middle of the air there.
Jump
Yep, if I remember correctly, I think not only did I jump out of the kneeling position, but I think I went and hid behind speaker box.
Yeah, I tried to punch him, but it didn't work.
No, it didn't.
It's what my character would do.
Very true, very true.
Good night, folks. I'm kidding. Yeah, I just also gotta ask this question though. We done with Richard, but I gotta ask what you two right here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start with you, Terry, because this is because you have a lot more experience at tables plural than pretty much any of us, right? But I've got to ask you this: what's your favorite natural 20 story? Go.
Oh man. Well, okay, the first one that pops into my head was way, way, way back, um, late 80s, playing high school, and it was a campaign with all of my friends in high school. We were known as the Brampton Heroes. We grew up in Brampton, and we were using the Palladium superhero system, and we basically made ourselves our characters. We were playing ourselves as if we got superpowers, and our high school was a nexus of realities. Um, and yeah, and in that particular campaign, it was a make or break moment. I'm struggling to remember the very specific details because this goes a long ways back now, but everyone was down. I was playing, my character was Steelheart. I had the ability to transmute into organic metal like Colossus,
Uh oh.
and and um, I was just mere hit points away from going down and the BBEG winning. And in order they slammed me, and in order and then they rolled a 20 to hit me. The only and in the Palladium system, it's got so many mechanics. Um, you can parry in that game. You can also block in that game. And in order to parry the blow, I had to roll a 20 in order to live and see another day and save everybody. And so I did. I rolled a 20 and parried the DM's natural 20. And then upon my turn, I can't remember the circumstances exactly, but then, in order to hit the bad guy, I needed to roll a 20, and I rolled another 20 subsequently after the first one to strike him. And we had a house rule that if you ever rolled three 20s in a row, it was an automatic kill. And so I picked up the D20 to verify to see if I got another 20. And yeah, I rolled three 20s in a row. And yeah, in that one strike, saved myself and put down the big bad guy and basically saved the world. So it was really, really cool. Like just the odds, mathematically speaking, just staggering alone. But how it played out theatrically in the game was just so amazing as well.
Man, I don't miss those
Applause in the
hardcore wars.
background. Yay!
Yeah,
That
with
would
a
be a
sushi
5%
background.
chance of a 5% chance of a 5% chance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
Terry,
meant to
pretty.
you
be.
are you are a beast.
You know what? Shoot, Roulette, same question. What's your biggest success?
What's my biggest pardon?
Your best natural 20.
Oh, my best. Oh, okay. My best natural 20. So this is my first ever D&D campaign that I was in, and it is run by a DM that me and Richard both mutually know. And my character at the time, her name was Kaden Cardigua, and her introduction to the campaign was being held prisoner in the basement of an Illithid temple. So naturally, she's got this big hatred for Illithids. Um, Later on in the story, the main NPC town, the main NPC was Zon Mesmelek. We all called him Mezzy. Um, his town came under attack from the Illithid army, and when our party was there to help defend and push back the army, we were never supposed to defeat the Illithid Emperor at all. It was supposed to be one of those encounters where we have a brush of death and then he goes away and he comes back as the end boss. Well, obviously the dice had other plans. My character went straight for the Illithid Emperor because she had a bone to pick with him. Because she remembered him chaining her up in the basement. And so when she goes over, she's a monk. She goes over and uses her fury of blows. And I kid you not, on my last hit, we were tussling a little bit, and then my last hit, I'm like, okay, I'm using fury of blow, and nat 20 for the first one,
Boom.
nat 20 for the second one, and nat 20 for the third one, 3 times in a row. And on the very last one, how my DM described it was my fist went straight through the face of the Illithid Emperor, grabbing the tentacles on the way through that was in front of his face, and she ripped the head off of the Emperor by tugging on the tentacles hard, that the head was just severed, and the body falls to the ground. And at that moment, the bloody scene just stopped for the army. And then, because my character at the time, Kaden, was not a child but wasn't an adult, she had a very young personality to her. She turned to Mezzy, held up the head, and says, "Do you want this?" In that voice. And that's probably one of my best crit successes that I've ever had.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did the math quickly. For both of us, that's a 1 in 8,000 chance.
Yeah.
Yup, and it happened.
Wow. You know that. Wow. I would never have guessed that happened. That's incredible.
It was absolutely fantastic, and I should state that this was in a 3.5 D&D setting, so the rules were definitely differently laid out than the typical 5th edition that we have today. But regardless, it was probably one of my favorite moments. I do have other favorite moments that wasn't my crit success, but I will leave that story for another time. But yeah, it was one of my favorite moments.
Outstanding. Thank you for sharing that. Those are both incredible. Those are dope. But I'm looking at time right now. I do have to ask another question before we and maybe I'm spoiling this for it, but I don't want to really mess anything up for Richard Plans here. But let me ask you both this question, and same order as before. What's a character in the Transformers universe that you want your character to meet?
If I could go first on this one, I would love to.
Sure.
So, Gage, if Gage was real and tangible and everything, I would want her to meet Ratchet in real life. Like in my lore, absolutely. She knows him. He's a mentor to her. But if they were real, I would want them to meet. Ratchet's my top, one of my top 2 Autobots. It's really a toss up between Ratchet and Jazz. But in terms of their personalities and in terms of what they do, if I could have Gage meet Ratchet, I think she might actually pass out from excitement. It would be the equivalent of me meeting Peter Cullen, if that makes sense. Yeah, it would be absolutely fantastic and a dream come true.
Cool.
You should have flew down for Fan Expo this year. Peter, Cullen, and oh my gosh,
Frank Welker.
Frank Welker. Yeah, I was about to have my geek status revoked. Yeah, they were both at Fan Expo this year. There was a whole Transformers thing. It was awesome.
know I really wanted to go, but I wasn't able to get the money together for the tickets. I've been talking about it forever, and I just couldn't make it happen, unfortunately. I was so disappointed.
Well, I missed a chance to meet what was his name? Both Sam Witwer and Heath David at Ocalicon last weekend. But yeah, so I had a good time with my family, so I had a great time down there. But I missed a chance to meet those two guys. I really wanted to though because I really respect their work. And I mean, come on.
Sam Witwer is an awesome dude. If you ever listen to him talking about Star Wars,
Oh yes,
like he's just off the rails with it and has such immense insights um, and explanations. Like his explanation of the balance of the of the force. It's just so on the mark. I love it. He's a very cool guy.
yeah. And well, I was ask you the same question, Terry. Who, if you know Shinobi can meet another character in the Transformers universe, who would you meet? Who would you have him meet with?
Well, I think I alluded to near the beginning. My favorite transform one of my favorite Transformer characters is Jetfire. If you were able to see past my shoulder and see my Transformers collection, um, I have one, two, three, four, I think about five different versions of Jetfire, and I have my original Jetfire Macross Robotech Valkyrie still in the '80s box. It's looking a little worse for wear, but it's there. Um, but I can also appreciate that in the cartoon, Jetfire also comes across as a little dry. So he's my favorite character, but RP wise, I think it would be really cool to meet Ultra Magnus. Like and I'm sure you can appreciate this as well, Vernon, because he's a soldier,
Mm.
and um, and just one warrior to another warrior. I could just see some very cool dialogue going on there. And they really in the movies and in the TV show and in the subsequent series, they Ultra Magnus is one of those characters they always flesh out, and he always brings a lot to the table, like whether it be tactical and strategy, even personality, um, and his moral and perspectives on how things are. Um, yeah, I think it'd be really cool to interact with Ultra Magnus.
I always liken Ultramax to Captain America from his status as a soldier, leadership, and also the color scheme.
Yeah, I never put that together, but yeah, I think you're 100% correct.
Well, I just wanted to ask you guys that because like I said, you always know your character so well, and anyone who wants to jump in this game can actually hear this cast of these people that have been playing this game for this long and see what they can get if they decide to sit at a table with for a Transformers game as an alternative to say your D&D 5e or or Warhammer or any other game I'm playing. I'd love for more people to give this a try. Uh, actually, also on top of that, fortunately, from the look of the sun in the sky, looks like it's about that time. So I'm gonna ask Richard, please, as our fearless leader and person who we cause much hair loss to, please DM us out.
Lost. Come on, man. Okay. Well, the the podcast studio is getting dimmer and dimmer as the sun sets, and and suddenly an explosion happens, maybe 5 blocks down the street. Um, but being that far away and still able to rock the walls and make dust fall from the ceiling, um, the guests for Vernon look to him and then look to each other, and and Richard just can't help himself, but says, "Guys, let's roll out."
Roll in.
Woo!
So, Richard, Colette, Terry, thank you for sitting in this night to hang out, talk geek, going online. Has anybody got anything they want to plug?
I just wanted to say thank you so much for having us here. It's been a blast. I've been wanting to do it for a bit now, and just thank you so much. It's been an amazing opportunity.
Your time is greatly
Yeah,
appreciated. Terry, please.
yeah, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. This was a very cool opportunity. Just speaking to what I was referring to before, just really appreciating who I'm playing this game with. Um, the insights that I gained about you three personally, I love, absolutely love, and even some of the insights into your characters. That not to metagame, but yeah, I'm looking forward to some of those details coming in game to create more of those role playing opportunities. But just the fact of hanging out with people of similar mind, similar heart, similar passion, always cool. Always down for talk and shop because that's what brings us together. That's what a geek is, just someone who has a passion for something. And we obviously all have a passion for Transformers, so it's really cool just to talk shop and spend time with people of like mind.
And this is always gonna be a seat for you right here at the Tavern. Richard, once again, thank you for leading us.
Not a problem at all. I'm glad to do it.
All right. Well, like I said, this is another episode of Viscount Gaming, where the only thing shorter than our attention span is probably our budget. But till then, next time we got more stuff for you, and also keep a lookout for the season finale is coming up. We got something special coming up in the next few weeks. But till then, it's Viscount Gaming. If you're looking to jump in the game with Richard here, please check out startplayinggames.com. His schedule's right there for you to look at if you want to jump in the game with him or any other DMs out there. Once again, Viscount Gaming, and we're out.